So people always ask me how I ferment my tobacco, and I always tell them that I use a kiln, and this right here is that kiln. And honestly, I hate to say this, but it sucks so bad. It's too small, the lighting is so bright and too strong, there's poor insulation, barely any humidity, and I use treated lumber. Don't ever do that, by the way. When I would be fermenting the leaves, they would just crisp up and dry and crack into oblivion, which is the opposite of what you want. And it would just ruin the whole process. So through this mess of a process, I learned a thing or two of fermenting tobacco. And the biggest thing I learned is that fermentation is absolutely essential to creating high quality, good tobacco that's made with love. So I'm fixing the problem once and for all with the help of this thing right here. Maybe. I don't know. I didn't build it yet, so I don't know. So here's the plan. I have this old wardrobe in my basement that's been around, before I was even born. I remember playing with it in my mom's closet and stuff. So, it's in its mid-20s maybe, I don't know. But anyways, we're gonna turn this into a makeshift kiln, and I'm about to show you guys the blueprint that I drew up. So let's do that. Okay, so when I'm building something and designing something, I always like to put the purpose and, what it's all about. So we're focused on the actual design here. So I took measurements of the front, the side, the back, and then the inside of it, when it's open, inside back, inside out, fuck. Inside side, inside bottom, and inside top. And, the measurements just help me figure out like what I'm working with. And yeah, one of the major differences between this one and my old one is that this one is going to have leaves hanging from the top and then also a rack near the bottom. So we're going to do piles of leaves and then hang the leaves in bunches so we get that double fermentation action. And yeah, I think that's really exciting. So this is the design. Now let's freaking build this thing, guys. Let's go. Fermenting tobacco is one of the most important and pivotal parts of going from seed to product, cigar, chewing tobacco, cigarette, snuff, whatever you're making. Fermentation basically turns a leaf into actual tobacco. After tobacco is dried and cured and yellowed out, it still holds chlorophyll, ammonia, the nicotine isn't fully integrated, and the flavor and aroma just aren't there, and that's what makes good tobacco. Ammonia specifically is problematic because, if the leaf still holds a lot of ammonia, the smoke is harsh and actually unsafe and toxic. So we don't want that. So we gotta ferment our tobacco. So I'm gonna list off the supplies that I'm using to build this kiln. It's pretty extensive, so hold on to your horses. So we have the wardrobe, an Arduino Uno, ceramic heat lamp with socket, a humidifier, a grow tent fan, reflective mylar film, waterproof temperature sensors, an SSR, aka solid state relay, heat shrink tubing, Wago lever nuts, and a project box. So that's everything I'm using. Without further ado, let's build this damn thing. Let's go. We're gonna move it over here. Is that a mouse trap? Bro, there's a mouse trap underneath it. Bro, there's a fucking mouse trap. I don't want to touch it, like. Alright. False alarm. Okay guys, so I have the Mylar sheet right here, and I'm just gonna line the walls with it. Like this. And I actually have to go to Lowe's real quick and get, it's called flue tape. It's like high temp tin or aluminum tape to tape this. But in the meantime, I'm just gonna take the measurements. So that's what we're doing with this. During fermentation, heat, moisture, which is humidity, and time all work together to basically stabilize the leaf. You're drawing out the excess nitrogen and ammonia and integrating the nicotine more fully into the leaf. And basically, you're rounding out the leaf. At the same time, the flavor and aroma of the leaf is all being developed through this process. And it's almost like a caramelization process of the leaf. And through this, it turns into like a work of art. Fermentation is not really optional. It's more than making it taste better. It actually makes it, usable, actually a usable thing that you can ingest in your body. Without it, it's basically just another leaf. But with it, it turns into, its fully actualized self. You guys won't believe this shit. So as I'm testing the heater, I'm about to test it at work, so I'm setting everything up. This shit, the ceramic heat bulb dropped on the floor. Luckily it came with two, but you can't make this up. But anyways, let's test this thing. So we're gonna test this. I have it all connected to the SSR, which basically, keeps everything in check. And I have the heater here. I'm running the Arduino code right now, so let's check if it actually works. It probably won't. Always expect it not to work, and then go from there. It's getting hot, guys. It fucking works. No way. It's on every 1 to 2 seconds. 2 seconds. Yeah, 2 seconds on, 2 seconds off. But it actually it's hot. It's working, and you can see that it's not. It's like turning on and off. That's why I can do this. Let's go, baby. All right, guys. So I was messing around with the wiring and stuff because it was a false alarm. It didn't actually work because it wasn't connected to the SSR or whatever, but it broke. I dropped it on the floor, it broke. So we're down to one socket, and I have to lock in here. Shit keeps breaking, so you can tell I'm kind of pissed right now, but fuck. So I have this DS18 humidity or temperature monitor, and it's all plugged into the Arduino. The Wago nuts are all connected, and basically what this is it's the light and then the temperature sensor controlled by the Arduino, and that turns it into like a thermostat type thing. So with the humidity, I decided to keep it simple and just plug it into the wall. The water's running. But yes, we're gonna keep it simple here, simple enough, and just make a simple thermostat here. So that's it for that. So what I'm thinking is that I want to put the light right here and then basically drill a hole through there. I would have to cut the wire and then reconnect it with a connector I have. And I think I'm gonna put it right here down below, and then I'll put the piles of tobacco will be right, a little bit higher than it, and then the rest will hang from the top. So that's what we're doing. How long you ferment tobacco depends on you and the type of leaf, the type of tobacco that you're using. All tobacco strains, it's snowing, and varieties all require different forms of fermentation, lengths and time that you do it, the way it's piled up. Is it stacked? Is it, hanging from a string? Whatever. This all goes into account. But for what we're doing here for, at-home fermentation, it usually lasts for, a few weeks to several months. Depending on how you do it. When it's done, when it starts to smell like sweet. There's a certain sweetness to it. So you gotta get good at determining when your tobacco is done. For instance, for, cigar tobacco like wrappers and binders, the fermentation could take a little longer. Whereas, if you're fermenting Virginia tobacco, which is cigarette tobacco, it takes less time. And I keep mentioning time. In my opinion, we're gonna take, a metaphysical perspective here. It's not necessarily about time. It's about the leaf. And like I said, you got to get good at determining when something is ready and when it's not. And you do that through repetition and honing your intuition on what you're creating, whatever you're building. You gotta learn to tap in to, tap in to what you're building and see when it's ready to be, shipped or whatever, whatever you want to call it. And of course, after fermentation's done, tobacco continues to age, whether, it's in a humidor or whatever, you're making cigars. And in my opinion, it's like wine in that sense where you can age wine for long periods of time and it just gets better and better. So that's kind of the way I view tobacco, and, it ferments and basically it just gets better with time, and I, I keep contradicting myself, but, humans with contradictions are usually the most interesting. So that's what I got. Okay, guys, so I rewired it through the actual kiln, and I put like a little thing in here. I super glued it on. So we're gonna test it with the Arduino, and this is the real test, guys. This is gonna make sure it works. I'm gonna plug in the ground, and the light should go on and off every 5 seconds. Okay. Let's go. Come on. Turn on. What the fuck? Oh wait, it wasn't even plugged in. Okay, wait. Every 5 seconds. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, I think I did 10 actually. My bad. 10, every 10 seconds. So it works. There you go. I'm going to test the light for every 1 second. Okay. There you go. For every 1 second, the light turns on. We are making progress, guys. Let's do this. Okay, guys. So after we check the light, and if you're asking why I keep changing clothes, it's because it's a different day. But anyways, I put a project box right here to store, the Arduino and the SSR and all the wires in here, just to keep everything neat. And guys, we're almost done. I'm gonna flip the camera over and I'm gonna show you the inside and what it's looking like. Okay, guys, so this is basically finished. So let's check this out here. So I put this lock here to keep the door closed, and then this was a mistake. I couldn't take this part off, so I just put the cigar cutter I made. Check out the video that I'm putting there. I put it right here, and all the wires are in the project box over here. And this thing, the Arduino's in here. Actually, we can open it up. It's all in there. And then I gotta close it. Okay. And like I said, the only thing that's being controlled by the Arduino is the temperature in here, and the humidity. I didn't add that. I may add it in the future, but I don't know. So we're gonna open it up. I don't know what that is, but so the fan's over here. It's not on right now, but it's gonna be blowing air at the leaves and everything to circulate air. The heater's over here. My fear is that it's not hot enough, so I have to use this one or get a hotter heater, or just put 2 in here. I don't know yet. And then here we have the Koby hygrometer that connects to my phone, so I can, watch the temperature and humidity. And then this controls the humidity through the Arduino. It's called DS18. And then that is the humidifier. And of course, it's lined with the Mylar for the light. So that's freaking it, guys. Okay, guys, so this is the kiln right here. We're gonna present it, and let's do this thing. So 1, 2, 3. Shit. This is the kiln, the tobacco kiln, one of a kind. There's basically, I haven't found any other kilns like this online or anywhere, because tobacco, even though it's this big thing, there's very little information on processing it yourself. So we're gonna check it out. Here we have the project box where the Arduino and the SSR goes. This is basically the brains of the entire thing. Pretty simple there. What I did here was Remember I said this was a mistake, so I just turned it into this. I put my cigar cutter on there, and where I put the lock on it. So we open it up, and look at that shiz. Look at that. So the tobacco's hanging from the top, and then the fan is hanging from this thing, blowing, circulating the air, and then the light and the humidifier are down there, and those things rise, so that's why you keep the tobacco up high. So, and right here, that's the thermostat, that's controlled by the Arduino, and then the Koby hygrometer, where I can check the temperature and humidity on my phone. So we're gonna close it back up, and actually I'll just leave it like that. So here, the temperature and humidity have been stable at, the temperature's been 75, and the humidity's at 75. That's good. You don't want to go higher than 80, RH, which is humidity, and the temperature, you don't really, the leaves generate their own heat. So I'd say 4 weeks, I'll keep them hanging, and then I'll start to pile. I'll create a platform here and start to pile them up so they can generate more heat. So that's it. Maybe I'll make a simpler one in the future, I don't know, but this is an upgrade from that shitty one that we had over there. So that's it for me, guys. Take it easy. Peace. So listen to the leaf and allow it to guide you. Let's go.